you're definitely into something very big here with data storytelling. um, I don't know. I mean, you should answer this, Sam. I mean, you're the expert. I'm nowhere near your level of expertise when it comes to storytelling. What would you say are the three most important things?
Well, that's a good question. I like it when my guests turn inquisitor. I think the fundamental skill in good data storytelling is humanity and empathy, and that might not feel like an obvious answer. It might be mastery of tools and techniques of statistics, but I think that if you don't have a good appreciation of the data tolerance of the audience that you're looking to move to action, be they a board or a marketing community or brand managers or media or whoever it might be. If you don't know what their data tolerance is, if you're unable to know your audience and put yourself into their mind, the mindset, their shoes, and appreciate what the story that you're about to tell, how that's going to come across, then you are bound to fail. Second, I would say, connected to that is the curse of knowledge. Curse of knowledge that a former guest on this podcast, Steve Pinker, the Harvard psychologist, defined in an excellent book called The Sense of Style, The Thinking Person's Guide to Writing in the 21st Century. The curse of knowledge, the inability to understand what it's like not to know something that you know. Again, that's a bit of an empathy fail. But those that work with data, those that work with numbers, particularly in the scientific and academic community, but also in businesses too, find it very hard to unknow what they already know, and they assume that other people know that. So I think a failure of empathy, suffering from the curse of knowledge. Those are, I guess, those are two negatives. On the positive front, I would say not showing all your workings out, or rather resisting the temptation, teasing your audience by saying, we've done this piece of research. I'll give you an example. Google have this rule. If you're doing a piece of primary market research or social media listening or something for Google, you're allowed to feed back with 3 slides. And those 3 slides ideally will have no words on them at all. Ideally, there'll be 3 pictures. But if you're going to use words, the font can't be less than 30 points. You can only have 3 lines of text on those slides and only 1 data point. You can have an appendix that has infinity slides, but what they want to know is kind of, so what do the data mean now, what should we do as a result? And I think that kind of rule, that kind of discipline, because what you don't want to do is to say, we've done this and this and this, and we ran this cross tabulation, and we did this ABC test, and none of them showed anything. Your audience is going to go to sleep. But if you say, this is what we looked at, this is what we found, this is what we suggest you do, that's going to get a response. Now, hang on, we've never done that in this category at all. What are you talking about? So I think empathy is the fundamental skill, avoiding the curse of knowledge and being judicious in choosing what statisticians might call the killer statistics, or the most important pieces of data that we should really pay attention to. I don't think, candidly, that either those with data science skills or the data science community have learnt that yet. So hopefully there'll be a long and prosperous interaction between me and many global corporates that we work with and my company. But thank you for the question. It kind of
Very good answer, and I think the last one resonates very, very highly with me, and I would have answered probably in a similar way. I would have probably focused only on the last one because I don't have that much experience as you have. But and I'll tell you a story here. I mean, my first role in Mars was to measure TV effectiveness, as I mentioned, and the effectiveness of TV is measured by sales uplift. And we used to give marketing the percentage of sales uplift that campaign generated, which was, I don't know, 7%, 9%, 12%, 20%. And they had some sort of benchmark, what was good, what was not good. But we immediately realized that we were giving away too much data. And the conversation was focused way too much on the numbers and not on the decision that's needed from them. So we decided to stop sharing sales lift numbers, and we bucketed those sales lift numbers in quartiles, and we gave 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 stars. And we told them very clearly that if you get an ad that has 3 or 4 star, keep going. If you get a 2 star, you better be ready to change it. And if you get a 1 star, remove it immediately, replace it with something older. And out of the entire investment in data to measure campaign effectiveness, the poor marketing employee, the only thing that we're seeing was 1, 2, 3, and 4. That was everything. There's nothing else. But this worked to create a language in the organization. This enabled conversations across markets, across divisions, simple conversations. And it drove the right behaviors, because at the end of the day, what you want with market research is to drive the right behaviors in the organization, and not necessarily just to explain what's happening with a lot of words in the market. So I think we kept the ambiguity of the data, because the data was noisy, and the difference between 7% and 8%, sometimes it was statistically significant, sometimes it was not. And sometimes you should look at that small difference, sometimes you should not. But it's better to keep that ambiguity with the experts, with the marketing research department, and leave marketeers, like the marketing department, to do what they're good at, which is, I don't know, create ads, build amazing products, and use all the knowledge that we can provide to them. So that's an example of simplifying the message, removing the ambiguity, and I would say also removing some emotions, because a lot of conversations were getting very emotional, which were like, oh, 8 is better than 7. Oh, you don't like my ad, that's why you don't want me to succeed, and so on. And the moment when you add a layer of simplification, it removes also those emotions.
To find out what kind of data storyteller you are, why not take our data storytelling scorecard? It takes just 2 minutes to complete and will give you a personalized report right away. Visit data-storytelling.scoreapp.com or follow the link in the show notes.